Hello, Iris J here with Madrona's Pulse Teachings. Right on cue is Nikita's tail, which seems to be coming up more and more in these videos. I hope this finds you doing well. If this is your first time on my channel, hello and welcome. I talk about astrology, healing, these healing journeys that it is to be human in these somewhat wild times. And I would like to chat with you a little bit more about this eclipse season that we're in. We are coming into the Libra Lunar Eclipse. It's on the 25th of March. So this is portal weekend. There's no other way to say it. If this is your first time on my channel, please do subscribe. It really helps these smaller channels do our thing. And whew, folks, how are you doing? Eclipse season is always different every eclipse season, and you know, it's ushering us into themes that are kind of opening, and then we work with them for the coming 6 months, we would say, because we kind of have eclipse in these 6-month cycles. And yet, you know, that's this kind of cyclical cycle of when the eclipses are happening, and yet eclipses are when we literally have a full moon or a new moon. So our first eclipse is the full moon happening in Libra. Because what makes an eclipse is that it's in proximity to the nodes of the moon. And in archetypal astrology, evolutionary astrology, the nodes of the moon are very significant in our karmic journeys collectively as humans in this earthly plane, as a species of earth, hopefully coming into more attuned ways of living as one species in earth, and also in our individual journeys as souls incarnated in this experience. And so eclipses are very potent times. They're potent. They are traditionally about ending a cycle, opening a new cycle. They can be wild card energy. How potent they are for us individually always depends in a combination of geographically where we are in relation to the eclipse, and also what's being activated in our chart. And again, there's so many layers of activation that emerges. And so the first would be what's happening for this first eclipse around 5 degrees of Libra, also opposite 5 degrees of Aries. Also in the squares, which is the cardinal squares, which is Cancer and Capricorn. And then our second eclipse is going to be at 19 degrees of Aries. And so they're also looking at around 19 degrees of Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. Those are kind of the most direct hits. But then again, there's layering in terms of what's happening with what we call rulerships and trines, and so many different ways that the eclipses can impact us in our natal chart. And if you're brand new to astrology and you don't know what any of that astro jargon means, that's totally fine. You can just listen and feel into what your intuition picks up and just leave the rest. And, you know, this weekend, we have this weekend that's ushering us into that lunar eclipse. I have a video that's really going into the aspects and the energies. That link is below. If you haven't seen that, that will fill you in here. I really want to talk a little bit more generally about how to work with these energies, how to welcome the portals that open with eclipses, the ways that these portals are part of, you know, that's what I was getting at in terms of the fact that, yes, there's this kind of 6-month cycle, but the fact that the nodes are what make an eclipse, there's this spiraling soul cycle that is out of time. And that's what eclipses really bring us into, because they're activating the nodes. And so the first thing with eclipse season, and as we get closer to the eclipse and then in the period between the eclipse, is to just pay attention to what's coming up. Now, the eclipse energy, the axis of the sun and the moon, is really in Libra and Aries, and therefore this is the axis of the polarity between our relational self, one-on-one dynamics, finding justice through one-on-one dynamics, healing and equality and beauty coming through the realm of one-on-one relationships. This is all spheres of one-on-one relationship. How we show up in one-on-one relationship. This is an eclipse, so most likely aspects of how we show up are wanting to come into a new manifestation. And this is the idea of the closing and the opening. And that polarity, Aries, our sun is in Aries now. Aries is fire, primal fires. It's about ourself. We are coming into a 6 weeks of healing and taking our Aries selves into new manifestations, potentially very new for our soul, potentially new for Aries opportunities in the human psyche, potentially healing some of the very, very, very unwakeful, lower vibrational Aries manifestations that have carried through for thousands of years from what we would call the age of Aries into this age of Pisces that we're now in and beginning the transition into the age of Aquarius, where that lower vibrational, fearful drive in Aries is pure power, pure narcissistic desire, attachment to one's drive at the expense of others. And this is about healing that and letting that go wherever we are on our journey. How that impacts, we can never separate the axis of signs and archetypes from each other. Libra is always related to Aries, and Aries is always related to Libra. This is true in our natal charts when we're trying to open up. This is where it's interesting in what sun sign astrology has done to astrology. Part of working with our sun sign is getting to know the opposite energy as well, especially when we're moving from a place of fear or we're dysregulated. That opposite energy is so important. And so here we are working with first a Libra eclipse and then an Aries eclipse. And we are coming into a new relation with both, a new relation of showing up in one-on-one realms and a new relation of relating to our Aries drive and the solar eclipse that's coming in April, the fact that Mercury is in a relationship with Chiron and also the North Node for 6 weeks because it has a retrograde that starts in April. There's just so much unraveling in Aries that's potentially really new, and that's very exciting. It also could be scary. It could be scary, not just because Chiron's there, but because especially depending on our own journey, depending on our own relationship to trauma, depending on our own way that our gendered experience has been affected, constructed, complicated by social gender roles, it might be scary to say, wow, there's this pulsing raw part of myself and she, he, they want to manifest and be seen. And it's not about being seen for validation or red carpet glory. It's about being seen for who I am. Okay, so even that phrase like being seen, sometimes that has really yucky Hollywood attachments to it. And that's not what that phrase means, especially when we're talking about Aries and Libra. It means I am seen because I show up as who I am. And that is coming up in both eclipses. It's who I am always wants to show up in Libra, but in Libra, we often get taught that it's not okay for us to show up as who we are. And so we may need to come into new ways of showing up for ourselves, for our partners, for our friends, for our colleagues, for the work that we're here to do. This is also shedding layers. Pluto is present in this first eclipse that we're coming into. So again, I said I wanted to talk about some of the ways of working with this. I think one of actually the most supportive ways of coming in to this eclipse is really acknowledging that Ceres, the Earth Mother, is there in Capricorn, and she's in almost an exact square to the nodes of the moon. She is in that exact square, coming into it over the weekend. She's already very in a close square, but it will, over the weekend, that distance will close and it will be exact there for our eclipse. And this is an undercurrent to the eclipse that's happening. So not getting too carried away in relational dynamics, not getting too focused on the self. Tune in to that really supportive baseline that Ceres is playing, which is incredible elder wisdom. Elder wisdom in Capricorn. We are talking about an elder Earth Mother wisdom that is available for the collective. Right now, she's at 13 degrees of Capricorn. She will be at 15 degrees of Capricorn for the eclipse. And she is squaring, singing out to the nodes in Aries and Libra. And so whatever we're going through, whatever transformations are upon us, and there are transformations upon us, they may be internal, they may be external. We know that there is a transformative journey going on in the collective that is bringing up incredible realities of what humans do and don't do, aren't willing to do. There is grief there is violence. This is human history replaying itself. And Ceres, the Earth Mother, is there squaring the nodes with Pluto also talking to the sun and the moon, saying stop to the collective. Stop and listen to the ancient wisdom that we all have streaming through our DNA, streaming through our soul consciousness. Pluto is in Aquarius. This is higher mind, evolutionary insights that are available during this eclipse. And Ceres offers nurture. She offers soul food. She offers literal food that keeps the human body functioning in a healthy way. She offers healing. She offers the truths that we need in order to heal ourselves and heal the collective and allow humans to do their part in the earth that actually knows how to heal itself if and when humans stop. And she is there potentially bringing in a realignment. She is in Capricorn, which is about the boundaries between the known and the unknown. And she's there radiating out to the nodes, offering a deeper embodiment of natural rhythms and natural cycles that we really have to just let ourselves remember. And part of that remembering is letting go of the Libra ways that hold us back from showing up who we feel we're here to be. Letting go of the fear of Aries and claiming that primal fire, which means I have instincts and those instincts want to carry me through this life. And they might not be aligned with the life that I have structured for myself. And that can come up during an eclipse too, that my dreams or my soul calling is doing work that looks different, or living in a different way, or having a wholly different idea of success in what I align myself to. And this is all about values. And those values, that's Libra, the ruler of, that's Venus, the ruler of Libra. And she is conjunct Saturn in Pisces during this eclipse. That conjunction is still close on this weekend as we're journeying into the eclipse. That calls forth both Capricorn and Libra energies coming together. The archetypal kind of resonance of Saturn aligns with Capricorn, Libra and Venus align, and yet they're manifesting in the Piscean energy of unconditional love, of mystical experiences that dissolve the self and reconnect us with source energy. All of this is present, okay? Not to mention healing messages that could potentially be coming from that Mercury, who's been conjunct Chiron, is journeying on to come back. But the fact that that Mercury is going to come back suggests that we are really in process, okay? This eclipse season is a process. Whatever's coming up during the next few weeks, we are in process. We are learning. We are transforming. It is literally a portal energy, and we're in that portal for a while, and then eclipse season closes. And as this eclipse season closes, it closes with a pretty big bang. As it closes, and then we come into the April 20th expansive conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus. So there is a lot of transformation going on. Again, it depends on our chart, what's being activated, how it's showing up, what we're being called for. But it's such an important time to listen in. It's such an important time to choose self-inquiry, to choose the practices that help support us, the people in our lives that help support us tune in. It's not easy to walk a spiritual path in this society that we have constructed, from the media to social conditionings to family conditionings to all the freaking shame that gets put on us as we survive different experiences. And yet there's this beautiful opening and this Ceres energy to really claim the elder earth consciousness that is about natural cycles, that is about the earth as part of the cosmos, that is about so much wisdom. And that wisdom is really here to support us as we move through what we're about to move through. Okay, so there are some eclipse reflections. I am sending out lots of love. Do sign up as a free member on Patreon, because I am building that community realm there. Not in any way that I'm stopping on YouTube. I'm keeping to build YouTube, but I'm also building a community there, and then you can see some of the stuff that goes on. And if you are curious about kind of learning more about evolutionary astrology, especially as a healing tool, as a self-inquiry tool, you can consider coming into one of the tiers there. In Cosmic Rhythms, we get together twice a month in Zoom, and I am a professional educator. There are so many ways that we need to learn. Learning is reclaiming. Learning does not stop when we graduate high school. It does not stop if we graduate college. It does not stop if you go all the way and get a PhD. It never stops. And unfortunately, our society has done some kind of harmful things to education and learning, and yet learning can be the most wonderful journey of reclaiming. That is how I come into education, and in the Patreon realm, I'm really trying to cultivate a space where learning is about thriving in our own journeys and also sharing that with others in very different ways, because we all have different comfort levels there in terms of community. So anyway, see what's going on there, and blessings. Bye-bye.